the European Union and Singapore have negotiated a free trade agreement and an investment protection agreement. The aim of the agreement is to remove almost all custom duties and get rid of overlapping bureaucracy. It's supposed to improve trade on electronics, food products and pharmaceuticals. It stimulates green growth, remove obstacles for the trade with green technology, and creates opportunities for environmental services. And another aim is that European companies invest more in Singapore and companies from Singapore invest more in the EU. The agreements were signed in October 2018 and the European Parliament gave its consent in February 2019. And as you know, they also have to be ratified or agreed to in all 27 member countries, or on that time it was 28. It finally got into action in November 2019. That was the part with the trade agreement. And the investment protection agreement will enter into force as soon as all European member states had their parliaments agree to that. As you probably already know, every member state has its own procedures to do so. And once again, for those who believe trade agreements can be negotiated quickly, these agreements have been negotiated for 9 years. So once again, this confirms my doubts to get a free trade agreement without alignments and without tariffs in just now 6 months or something like that. And don't come with the copy and paste thing again. It never happened before and it will never happen, because for every negotiation there is a new assessment being made for the special situation these both partners are in, and so no trade agreement can be the same as another. But let's get back to Singapore. Even before this agreement, almost all goods from the EU could be imported duty-free in Singapore. The free trade agreement now eliminates the few last customs duties that were left, and that was organized over 5 years depending on the product category. Technical and non-tariff barriers will also be removed. And now here it is talking about standards, and nobody else is accepting EU standards. They will be removed by recognizing EU standards and safety tests in key areas such as electronics, pharmaceuticals and vehicle parts. So even Singapore had to accept EU standards. Certain tariffs will still apply to imports on fish and processed agricultural products into the EU. I mentioned this in other videos before. The agricultural sector is a very sensitive sector in the European Union, and therefore there's always a protective part in all trade agreements the EU makes with other countries. The free trade agreement removes obstacles in the services sector, where bilateral trade amounted up to 45 billion euros in 2016. The EU is Singapore's largest partner in trade of services. Over 10,000 EU companies use Singapore as a hub for supplying the entire region. The EU-Singapore trade agreement is the first of a new generation of bilateral agreements. In addition to the classical abolition of tariffs and non-tariff barriers to trade in goods and services, it also contains important provisions on the protection of intellectual property, the liberalization of investment, the awarding of public contracts. You might remember that from the video about the Australian trade agreement negotiations, competition and sustainable development. The investment protection agreement with Singapore will further improve the investment climate and offer investors greater security, while at the same time safeguarding the interests of the EU and Singapore to pursue common good goals like the protection of public health, security and the environment. It will replace the 12 existing bilateral agreements between Singapore and EU member states. And if you want to know more about European politics from a German point of view, I put my next video in the end screen. Click and enjoy. I'll see you there. Viel Spaß!